You think you know everything about those famous Daisy Duke shorts? Think again. The woman who created the most iconic look in television history almost walked away from it all. She was told she wasn't good enough. Her agency dropped her. And when she finally got her shot, she refused to wear what they wanted. What she did instead changed fashion forever and made her a millionaire. But behind all that fame, there was a side of Catherine Bach's life that was heartbreaking. From being forced to starve herself to finding her husband's body in their backyard, her story is filled with moments that will leave you speechless. So buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the real story of Catherine Bach. Let's go back to the beginning. Catherine Bach was born on March 1st, 1954 in Warren, Ohio. Her real last name was Bachmann. Her dad Bernard was German, and her mom Norma had Mexican roots. Her grandfather on her mom's side was born in Mexico and worked as a baker in Arizona. So Catherine grew up in two completely different worlds. She had German discipline from one side and Mexican warmth from the other. That mix made her unique right from the start. She later shortened her name from Bachmann to Bach, but she never forgot where she came from. That heritage stayed with her throughout her entire life. When Catherine was still young, her family packed up and moved to South Dakota. Can you imagine going from a city in Ohio to wide-open ranch land? It was a massive change. She spent her childhood on a ranch, learning how to take care of animals and live in nature. She also spent a lot of time with her grandparents in Faith, South Dakota, a tiny town with only a few hundred people. Everyone knew each other's business. That small-town life taught her to be humble and grounded. It's funny how those early years shaped her into someone who could play tough and sow weed at the same time. That's exactly what made Daisy Duke so believable. Her mom worked as an acupuncturist, which was super rare back in the 1950s. Her dad was a rancher and had been in the military, so Catherine's home life was all about balance. Her mom's world was calm and healing, while her dad's world was hard work and discipline. That combination taught her how to mix strength with elegance. It's one of the reasons her performances always felt so real. But then, when Catherine was just 6 years old, her parents got divorced. Her mom had to raise Catherine and her brother Philip all by herself while working. Those were tough times. They moved around a lot and had to rely on family members to help them out. Watching her mom struggle but never give up left a huge mark on Catherine. She learned what resilience meant at a very young age. That inner strength helped her survive Hollywood later on. Catherine finished high school in Rapid City, South Dakota in 1970. During those years, she fell in love with nature and ranch life. She was also surrounded by Native American culture in the region, which made her comfortable around all kinds of people. Even as a kid, she was creative. She learned how to sew, and by the time she got to college, she was already making clothes for friends and theater groups. That skill would end up changing her entire life. When Catherine was just 16 years old, she made a huge leap. She moved from a tiny town of 421 people to Los Angeles, one of the biggest cities in the world. Can you imagine how scary that must have been? Her dream of acting started when she was only 8 years old after watching her uncle perform in a play. But chasing that dream in Los Angeles was way harder than she expected. She felt lonely and lost at first, but she found comfort in ballet and drama classes. Performing became her way of dealing with everything. She studied with top acting coaches and worked incredibly hard. She got into UCLA to study drama, but she dropped out after just one semester. Why? Because she wanted to act full-time. She didn't want to waste any more time in a classroom. While in college, she worked as a dressmaker to make extra money. That hustle never left her. Dropping out was risky, but she believed in herself, and that bet paid off big time. Soon after dropping out, Catherine started getting small roles in TV and movies. In 1973, when she was only 19, she landed her first major role in a film called The Midnight Man with Burt Lancaster. It was a small-budget movie, but for her, it was huge. She played a murder victim named Natalie Claiborne. Working with professional actors gave her a real taste of what filmmaking was all about. That same year, she got another big break. Shaw. He was cast in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, directed by Michael Cimino. She acted alongside Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges. The movie was a hit and taught her a lot about discipline. Eastwood was known for not allowing more than 3 takes per scene, so you had to get it right fast. Jeff Bridges even got nominated for an Oscar. For Catherine, this was proof that she belonged in Hollywood. In 1975, she made her TV debut on a show called Matt Helm. The show only lasted 13 episodes before getting canceled, but it was enough to get her noticed on television. Then, in 1976, she joined a stage production of Murder in the Cathedral at the Mark Taper Forum in Los Angeles. This was serious theater, nothing like the movies she had been doing. She was part of the chorus and had to learn complex classical techniques. The experience built her confidence and showed that she really cared about her craft, not just about becoming famous. Now here's where things get interesting. In 1978, Catherine Bach was on the verge of giving up. Her agency told her they were done with her. They said she wasn't going to make them any money and didn't belong on TV. She'd just been dropped. It felt like the end of everything. But her husband at the time had connections. He worked with a director named Bob Clark, who knew Guy Waldron, the man behind a brand new show called The Dukes of Hazzard. When Clark called Catherine about the role of Daisy Duke, she turned it down. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. She honestly believed there was no point. The producers had been searching for over a year across New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and California. If they hadn't found anyone yet, why would they pick her? But then one night, sitting in an Italian restaurant in Beverly Hills, a close friend gave her one last push. Her friend told her to go for it. The next morning, Catherine finally agreed, and that one decision changed everything. At the audition, Catherine did something bold. She refused to wear what the producers gave her. They wanted her in a blonde wig, a turtleneck, go-go boots, and a poodle skirt. She looked at that outfit and said no way. Instead, she wore her own clothes. Cut-off jean shorts she made herself, a small top, and cowboy boots. That was her version of Daisy. Real, confident, and Southern. She walked into that room, read her lines in front of 30 people, and when she finished, nobody said a word. She thought she'd completely blown it, but then everyone stood up and started clapping. Out of more than 2,000 actresses they'd seen, she was the one they wanted. 2 weeks later, Catherine was on a plane to Georgia. When the first episode of The Dukes of Hazzard aired on January 26, 1979, she stunned everyone again. She did her own driving stunts. She had no professional training, but growing up on a ranch gave her the guts and skill to pull it off. Tight corners, dirt roads, high-speed car chases. She handled it all like a pro and made it feel completely real. That authenticity helped the show explode in popularity. By season 3, it was the second biggest show on TV with around 20 million people watching every single week. Then came the costume battle. The studio still wanted that poodle skirt and go-go boot combo. Catherine wasn't having it. She insisted on cowboy boots and something that actually made sense for a Southern girl. She made her own red and white top. She picked daisies from her own yard. She styled herself and did her own makeup for the now legendary poster. That poster sold 5 million copies. Her legs were insured for $1 million. And those shorts she wore? They didn't just make headlines. They created an entire fashion movement. Daisy Dukes became part of American slang. Even 45 years later, people still know exactly what you mean when you say Daisy Dukes. But here's what most people don't know. Hollywood in the late 70s wasn't safe for women, especially not for someone who just became a sex symbol overnight. Catherine's co-stars John Schneider and Tom Wopat stepped up to protect her. John was only 18 years old, but he and Tom would walk over to anyone who came to visit Catherine on set and say things like, "Have her back by 9. We shoot early." They weren't joking. They meant it. They saw what was happening in the industry, and they had her back. It became part of their real-life bond, something way deeper than just acting together. Catherine never missed a single one of the show's 147 episodes between 1979 and 1985. She turned what could have been a shallow, stereotypical character into someone smart, clever, and bold. Daisy wasn't just a pretty face serving drinks at the Boar's Nest. She gathered information and helped her cousins outsmart their enemies. In 1981, Catherine wanted to launch her own poster. Warner Brothers said it wouldn't work and refused to support her. She said fine and did it herself. With a homemade top, home-picked flowers, and a friend holding the camera, she created one of the best-selling posters in TV history. 5 million copies sold. She beat all expectations without any studio help. She proved she could build her own brand and her own empire. Then in 1982, something dramatic happened. Tom Wopat and John Schneider walked out. They were in a brutal $25 million lawsuit with Warner Brothers over pay and merchandise royalties. The studio hit back with a $92 million countersuit. While all this chaos was happening, Catherine stayed. She held the entire show together with 2 brand new actors. Ratings fell from number 7 to number 33, but she never left. She became the anchor of the series, the one constant everyone could rely on. By the time Tom and John returned in February of 1983, Catherine's value was undeniable. But behind all that success, there was a darker side that nobody talked about. Catherine was as 5'8", and executives told her to stay at 115 pounds. That kind of weight wasn't healthy for someone her height, but the industry didn't care. Catherine started working out obsessively, 3 hours a day, dancing, hiking, swimming. It wasn't about being healthy. It was about survival in an industry obsessed with appearance. Even though she looked confident on screen, inside she was struggling. It took years of therapy to heal the damage from those times. She eventually learned to accept her natural figure and let go of those punishing standards that were forced on her. After the Dukes of Hazzard ended, Catherine tried to reinvent herself. In 1987, she starred in a movie called Street Justice, playing a tough woman caught in a CIA conspiracy. She trained for 6 weeks with a stunt expert just to get the fight scenes right. She did all her own action scenes, hoping this would prove she was more than just Daisy Duke. But critics didn't buy it. The movie didn't launch her into serious acting like she hoped, but it showed she was willing to take big risks. In 1992, Catherine took an even bigger leap. She moved all the way to Johannesburg to star in African Skies, a family adventure series that ran until 1994. She played a character named Margot Dutton and appeared in all 52 episodes. She had to work in intense heat, sometimes up to 115 degrees. The show was filled with real wildlife. She filmed scenes with lions, elephants, and even rhinoceroses. She learned some Zulu and spent her weekends exploring wildlife preserves. She was paid $50,000 per episode, making her one of the highest-paid women on cable TV at that time. Now let's talk about Catherine's personal life, because this is where things get really emotional. Catherine was just 22 when she married David Shaw on May 15, 1976. David was the stepson of Angela Lansbury, the Hollywood legend. For a while, things looked perfect, but something started to change after 1979 when her role as Daisy Duke made her a massive star. Suddenly, she was on every magazine cover and cameras followed her everywhere. Her schedule became brutal, and the fame started pulling her away from her husband. By August 5, 1981, their marriage was over. It had lasted 5 years and 2 months. 9 years later, on August 8, 1990, Catherine married Peter Lopez. He wasn't an actor. He was a powerful entertainment lawyer who worked with stars like Michael Jackson, the Eagles, and Michael Bublé. He wasn't flashy, but he was steady, and that's what Catherine needed. They built a family together. Their first daughter, Sophia Isab, Ella, was born in January 1996. Laura Esmeralda came along in October 1998. Peter gave Catherine the calm she had missed in her early years. Friends described him as kind, reliable, and brilliant. For 20 years, it looked like she had found peace. Then everything fell apart on April 30th, 2010. Catherine found Peter's body in their backyard. He had taken his own life. He was 60 years old. Their daughters were just 14 and 12. Catherine said she never saw it coming. Peter hadn't shown any obvious signs, but something inside him had clearly broken. She later found out he had been hiding deep financial troubles caused by the 2008 crash. His law practice had taken heavy hits, but he had protected the family from knowing. Catherine was left with shock, grief, and confusion. She leaned on therapy, church, and her children. It was the only way she could survive. After Peter's death, Catherine discovered something else he had hidden. The family's finances weren't as strong as she thought. The 2008 crash had quietly wrecked his law firm. Investments failed, money dried up. But he never told her. He tried to carry it all alone, and it crushed him. Catherine once said, "I trusted him. I trusted his judgment." That trust was so deep that even when she saw bills piling up, she believed he had everything under control. After he died, she faced the mess he left behind. She gained weight. She cried constantly, but she didn't give up. She found her way through with faith and help from friends. Catherine started speaking out about mental health after Peter's death. She supported suicide prevention groups and grief therapy programs. She used her own pain to help others. She also continued supporting Choti for Kids, the charity she and Peter founded to provide free medical care for low-income children in Los Angeles. Her voice became louder in the years after his death, not quieter. Today in 2025, Catherine Bach is 71 years old and still incredibly active. She made headlines in 2024 when she joked about still wearing her Daisy Duke shorts. "Only if you come to my house and watch me garden," she told Fox News, and fans were amazed. She walks around Los Angeles looking elegant, often in all black outfits, but still unmistakably herself. She's reunited with her old co-stars at Hollywood events, proving she hasn't forgotten her roots. Her net worth is now around $10 million. That's pretty incredible for someone who fought through pay gaps, personal tragedy, and industry sexism. Her Daisy Duke poster sold 5 million copies, and she still earns money from it. She makes money from reruns of The Dukes of Hazzard, from her time on The Young and the Restless between 2012 and 2019, and from her jewelry business inspired by her Mexican heritage. She also launched a store called Daisy Country, where she sells clothing and memorabilia. Catherine Bach's story is one of incredible strength. She went from a small-town ranch girl to a television icon. She created a look that's still copied today. She survived an industry that tried to control her body and her image. She lost the love of her life in the most tragic way possible, and still found a way to keep going. She raised 2 daughters through unimaginable grief. And she never stopped working, never stopped creating, and never stopped being authentically herself. So the next time you see someone wearing cut-off jean shorts and calling them Daisy Dukes, remember the woman who made them famous. Remember the battles she fought, the pain she survived, and the legacy she built. Catherine Bach left nothing to the imagination, not because of what she wore, but because of who she truly was. A fighter, a survivor, and an absolute legend. If this story touched you, hit that like button right now. Share this video with anyone who loves classic TV or needs to hear a story about real strength. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we're bringing you more incredible untold stories every single week. Drop a comment below and let us know what surprised you most about Catherine Bach's life. We'll see you in the next video.